Here we are,
Hi.
right? Well, hello everybody. This is Scott Roberts from Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance, and we are here at the 2025 AstroCon here in Bryce Canyon, Utah. And this is also where all the awards from the Astronomical League are awarded. And this year, Ms. Claire Zhao is here with us, and she is one of the Horkheimer Service Award winners. And first off, congratulations.
Thank you
It's
so
great.
much. Yeah.
And you are in high school, senior this year?
Yeah, I'm a rising senior this year.
Okay,
Yep.
great. Okay, and you told me a little bit about your background and stuff, but why don't you tell the audience what you do?
Okay.
This is for the Horkheimer Service Award, so this is like astronomy outreach work,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. So, as the name entails, I do a bunch of service work in astronomy. One of the things I do is I have a nonprofit organization called Universe Studio. And in this organization, I have about like two different things I do. So one of them is Star Trek, that is a mobile planetarium, and another is Cosmo. Cosmo is an AI astronomy chatbot that is serves.
Oh,
It's like cater to
did
different.
you make this?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Cater to different kids and like people of different ages, and help them learn astronomy easier. So with Star Trek, what I do is I have like inflatable planetarium dome, and then I also have I built a projector box, and I packed that all into my dad's sedan, and I drive across Washington, bringing it to different boys and girls clubs in all corners of Washington. And then with Cosmo, what I have done is I have created this chatbot has different responses for different ages. So I have 4 age categories. That is like under 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15, and like 10 and above, and I think for all ages. And what it can do is you can just
All for you, right?
all for youth mostly,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
also for some adults if they want to use like the for all ages part.
Yeah.
I don't want to exclude adults.
Okay.
But yeah, and what it can do is you can just type your question, and it will respond with the answer to your question. And for younger kids, it's usually like shorter responses, maybe more playful and like just easier to understand. And then for older audiences, it is usually like more like science specific or like very more scientific and has more detail, so you can understand it at a higher level.
Wow. So
Yeah.
preparing all that stuff, and you are an educator, so that's very cool. I know that being in education takes a lot of prep work. You have to
Yes.
you have to get all your stuff ready.
Yes.
Do you just do like a canned presentation, or is it something that you try to make it special each time you do it?
Oh, for the planetarium?
For the plant or for any of the programs that you
I see. For my planetarium show, I usually like to have some sort of guideline of what I'm going to talk about so that I'm not lost every time I do it. So I like to talk about the formation of our solar system, and also maybe sometimes include a little bit about like protostars in there. And like I take the audience through each of the planets because these are kids, so they maybe have not learned about the planets like the terrestrial and the Jovian. And then what I do is I just kind of zoom out.
Okay.
The simulation or like the software that I use has a very neat feature where I can just like go from from our solar system out to our galaxy, then out to other galaxies, and then all the way back to the cosmic microwave background.
Oh, wow.
So I like to just show like kids just how big our universe is and
Right.
how much there is to learn about it. So that's one thing, and then obviously at the end I have like ask me anything. So sometimes I show a black hole. Sometimes I show different asteroid belts. It's really just what the kids want to learn about.
I see.
Yeah.
So are you surprised by the knowledge level of some kids,
Oh,
or the
yeah.
lack of knowledge also?
Certainly. I think some kids have like a really keen interest in astronomy already at a very young age, which is always super exciting. So they're like they ask, like they raise their hands constantly and ask like, "Do you know about this? Do you know about that?" And I'm like, "Yeah. You know, tell me about it." But there is obviously other students who may have not had the same. Um, Maybe it's interest, or maybe it's just like they just have that love for astronomy, or that they're captivated by the night sky, but they just might not have had the experience to
Right.
look at
The
the
mentorship
telescope.
or-
Exactly.
Right.
So
Do you
yeah.
meet anybody that's just not interested in astronomy at
Oh,
all?
certainly.
You do?
There are
Okay.
some kids, because I'm bringing it to boys and girls clubs. They're
Okay.
like, I want pizza. Get me out of here. So yeah.
You
That
have to
also
remind them
happens.
that all the atoms in the pizza
Oh,
are from the cosmos,
exactly.
right?
Yes, of course.
So if you like pizza, you love the universe. Okay,
Right,
so
right. That's my slogan now.
So let's back up just a little bit and talk about your first interest in astronomy and how you started your outreach program.
Yeah. My interest in astronomy came when I was maybe in like middle school, and that came from just what I saw every night above my bedroom window. I have a big window that I can look up into the sky, and sometimes I can see like Jupiter and Saturn going across, orbiting. And sometimes, how like their orbits might shift in the night sky, and how like sometimes you could only see Jupiter, or sometimes you could only see Saturn, and that was really captivating.
Right.
And
how did you know what you were looking at?
I made a good guess. I
Okay.
had like one of those apps where it's like you could point up to
Got
the
it.
night sky, and then you
Okay.
can see where they're supposed to be. But most of the time, it was like a good guess. And then so like I think just wanting to understand what caused that sort of what I was seeing to happen really motivated me to learn more about astronomy. And so to get more into astronomy, I joined my Astronomical Society, the Seattle Astronomical Society.
Right.
Um, and that's where I borrowed my first telescope.
Okay.
I tried that out for a couple months just with their borrowing program, and
Awesome.
I was able to see, like, I would bring it to a local tennis court at night with my dad, which he hated coming with me, but I made him go with me. And I would like look to the moon with the filters. I would also try and see Jupiter and Saturn up close.
Okay. So you're just on fire with this, really.
Yeah, I was just really interested, and I just wanted to see more. And then slowly I started to learn more and more. And I eventually became involved with the UW Planetarium, so the University of Washington's planetarium. Shout out to them.
Yep.
And I first attended a couple of shows, and later became their first, I believe, high school presenter.
Okay.
And that is there that I met a girl and her mom who had like drove a couple of hours to come to Seattle for that show specifically. And they came up to me after the show and was like, hey, we really love the stars, but we just don't have like that sort of the same like resources that we have in Seattle back in our area. And she was asking me like, oh, do you know of any resources that could help the little girl learn about astronomy? And
Like you.
like me, right? And I was like thinking back to what I had done to learn astronomy, and I was realizing that wow, a lot of the things I had done was in the Seattle like metropolitan area, or the greater metropolitan area, and I didn't like quite know about things that were in her area, that like I even researched it a little bit with her. And I realized that there just isn't as many things that I had used to learn astronomy
Right.
in her area.
Yeah. Because in Seattle they've got
They
so
got
much,
museums, they got planetariums, they got a Seattle Astronomical Society, a bunch of things to explore astronomy with. But in her area, it's not as plentiful. So that's why I started Universe Studio.
So
and
what
stuff
was
like
your
that.
first? Was it with her? Did you drive out to where she was? Or
Oh, yeah.
what was the first
The
program
first
like?
one. So, okay, I had a test run with my astronomy club at school first, just to
Okay,
see.
that's smart.
Yeah, just to see, like, is it interesting?
Yeah.
Like, I had them fill out a little form, be like, is this a good like show? What would you do to make
Oh,
it
that's
nice
smart.
for like
Okay.
K-8 audiences?
Okay.
So I had a test run, and then they were like, it's okay, it's great. So I brought it out to, I don't think it was her area specifically, but I believe it was maybe South Washington,
Okay.
around that area. And then.
And you picked this area because you felt it was underserved, or?
Oh yes. I reached out to a bunch of boys and girls clubs just around Washington, which didn't have um, maybe like an observatory near them, or
Yeah.
maybe like
No
any big.
planetarium,
Right,
no
exactly. So
science museum,
yeah,
nothing.
I was
right?
like just looking at the map and seeing like which areas might be good, and then so I reached out to their areas and a couple of other areas, and they were the first to respond. So I was like, okay, I'll go to you guys first.
Sure. How lucky.
Yeah.
How lucky for them. Yeah. Well, it's wonderful. So you did your first program, and you do them monthly, weekly. What kind of frequency did you do?
I did it during my school breaks. So
Okay.
especially I think during like spring break and maybe midwinter break, that was where I was able to go
Okay.
out. But a lot of times.
Are you starting this in junior high, or you're already in high school at this
I
time?
mean, I started this in 2024.
Okay.
So it's
like right at the end of COVID, right? Because we had that COVID gap.
right. In 2024, I was beginning to like plan everything and just testing and
Yeah.
putting everything together. And then it was mostly this year, starting the beginning of this year, that I really went out for shows.
Mm-hmm.
And
24 is a little bit after COVID.
yeah,
Still,
certainly.
but you're preparing for all this stuff.
Right.
Now, you have an inflatable, portable planetarium.
Yes.
Did you? How did that come? Did somebody give that to you? Did
Yeah.
your father support it, or did you
Yeah.
work weekends throwing newspapers or something like I did when I was a kid?
Nice.
Yeah. But I didn't do what she did. I mean, this is a special person. So
Yeah, what I did was I had a couple of what I did was first I got inspiration from the University of Washington, like their planetarium page, just to see
Okay.
like what would I even get, what would I even buy, and then to fundraise for it, I got a little bit from my own pocket,
Okay.
and then also from just selling like old devices that we had in our home for
Okay.
that money, and just whatever that
wow.
like.
So your family helped you.
Oh, certainly.
You got some skin in the game, as they say.
Yeah.
And did people in public support you a little bit, or
Not
you
in
weren't
the
well
not
known
not really in the
enough?
beginning. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you must be somewhat famous now in your region for doing
Hopefully,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully this interview helps a little
Right.
bit. But I mentioned to you earlier, I knew Jack Horkheimer, and Jack was really, really into public education. That's what this guy was all about. He had his Stargazer program, which he started years ago, and it was like a 5-minute program on public television.
Oh, okay.
You should probably look at doing something like that, because it would be very, very interesting to a lot of people, especially young people, because you're approachable, which is very nice, and I would imagine very knowledgeable about goings on in astronomy and space science and that kind of thing. But how do you feel when you do this outreach? What's your feeling like? After you finish a successful outreach gig or whatever that you do, how do you feel about it afterwards?
I mean, I think what I feel most is just like excitement.
Yeah.
Excitement about just like knowing that these kids, have the opportunity, or maybe have just like a little bit more knowledge about astronomy,
Yeah.
and that they might like go explore more from this presentation, or just that like for an hour I help share the universe with them. And for those kids who are super excited about space, I hope that like I was able to give them maybe some ideas about what they could do to learn more about astronomy, or even like service in astronomy. Like, oh, they could maybe get involved with a local science museum if they have one, or a local planetarium if they have one, something like that. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I think that I too, when I do anything like that, I don't have a portable planetarium, but I go out with telescopes and stuff from time to time. And I think what you're going to learn, if you keep doing this, especially if you get my age,
Yes.
you're going to meet people that you will see their lives have changed for the better. And I think that you're doing something to as a gateway to greater scientific literacy. So it's very important. Jack Horkheimer probably, if he was here today, would be crying, tears of happiness to know that you're doing this. So, but let's talk about the Jack Horkheimer Award and how you got recognized for what you do. So there's a nomination process, I would imagine. And so, what happened?
I feel like mine was probably more simpler than maybe others have. I just found the awards on the website, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll be eligible for this award. So I filled it out, wrote my little application, and then I emailed some club members, so at like the club officers at my society, and a couple of them responded and was like, great, we'd like to nominate you. So that was pretty much my nomination process.
That is wonderful. Jack was also somebody that, recognized that young people today, for a lot of reasons, don't have the feeling of hope for the future. And I would imagine you run into that too, okay? And someone that is delivering a message like you are, I think gives people hope, and to know that you can make a difference. And I know that for people that understand science and want to apply themselves, that they are doing things to make this a better place to live, and for us to move forward in accomplishing what people might have said was impossible. But I for one believe that almost anything is possible, and but science is incredibly important in this area. So you're going to see people that will make breakthroughs. I think. So do you think you'll keep doing this? Do you think this will be part of your life for a long term, or are you just going to go, okay, I did that was interesting, and move on? Or what do you think you'll do?
Yeah, I definitely want to keep doing astronomy outreach in like later in life. Currently, I am trying to see if once I leave Seattle for college, who might be able to take on Star Trek and the Mobile Planetarium. So maybe talking with my Astronomical Society to see if there wants to be an outreach program that would be like taking on Star Trek. But also just like talking about college and beyond, there's often planetariums there and that hosts like public events. That's something I would really love to be a part of.
Okay.
Experimenting with new planetariums and also meeting new people. That's also something very exciting. And also maybe in college I'll do Star Trek 2.0.
That'd be good.
Maybe that will happen also.
Maybe think about getting an intern from the high schools in the area, or somebody else like you that wants to adopt something like this, and then you can mentor them and carry it on. That would could last a long time if it's done right. So
certainly.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Well, congratulations on winning this award. And is there anything else you'd like to add, or anything you think we skipped in this presentation? Typically, everybody knows it's a live program, and I make many mistakes in doing live programs. So, but it's very, very interesting to talk to you, and I'm inspired.
as
Yeah.
learning about what you do. So,
Yeah, I guess if you would like, you can go visit what I do and the work I do at www.universestudio.org. It's a slight play off of Universal Studios.
universestudio.org.
Yes.
Okay.
Universestudio.org. And let's make the universe universal.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, would you travel? I mean, if somebody watching this show wants you to go and do a planetarium program somewhere, would you travel for that?
I would have to figure out how to bring that large dome and the box through TSA first.
Okay. But what if it's a big planetarium? They have their own planet.
Oh, well then I would
do
love
that?
to go. Yeah,
Okay.
certainly.
All right. Okay. So I have some planetarium friends out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Hi.
Bill Peters and Ian McLennan in
Okay.
particular are watching. I would recommend that you get in touch with Claire here. So. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
All right, and I'll see you tonight.
I'll
right?
see you
Getting
tonight.
Your
for
award.
the
So.
banquet. Yes.
Yeah, wonderful.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Cool.
Thanks, everybody. Keep looking up, and we'll have more speakers.
You're up. So I've heard that the next year's are going to be in Cincinnati. So we're going to